For those of you who have been following along with me in my journey here with Mystery, you know I've been working on trying to get the ulcers cleaned up. Unfortunately, it looks like it's actually spreading somewhat. So what I'm going to do is another course of antibiotics. I'm going to do that now, and then do a polysporin dressing. Like the iosol I was putting on obviously was not helping. Things are definitely looking a bit worse here. So injection first. Injection is done. I'm going to dry this off now. It does look very nasty. A bit of blood on it there as well. Part by the tail is also looking very, very raw here. So I'm going to start a course of 5 injections, one right after the other. Polysporin on here, because polysporin did seem to help previously. I'm hoping that this bump up the salt level in the quarantine tank again as well. The heat is up also. So I'm very disappointed in how things are coming along, but I am not prepared to give it up on him yet. So definitely not looking good on the tail or the vent here in the pectoral area, sorry, the pelvic area. That, and instead of doing new skin on here, I've got some adhesive powder that I'm going to put on to help seal it. It's I've used in the past. It seems to work pretty well also. And it does provide a sealing coating on here. That can sit in for a minute. And seal the polysporin into the ulcer itself. And I will get it back into the quarantine tank. I'm going to do a water change on the tank. I did one a few days ago. I'm going to do another one on there now. And then do increase the salt level, get the Melifix going there full tilt, and we'll keep you posted. So unfortunately it's not moving along as well as I hoped. As I said, it looks like it's actually getting a little bit worse, which is very discouraging, but I refuse to give up on him. So I'm going to put it back in the tank now, and I will provide another update very, very soon. Thank you again for watching, and fingers crossed I can get him through this. It is November 24th in the morning, approximately 11:30 a.m. I have Mystery back out for a second shot of the Baytril. As you can see, the ulcer definitely has spread somewhat, and again I think that was due to my negligence of getting him out frequently to check it. I was depending on the iosol, etc. to work. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give him another shot. This will be the second shot in 2 days, and then I will put some polysporin on. I have a new spray that I'm going to use. It's supposed to be a waterproof one. Hopefully you can see that here. I'll try to get that back out in focus. They're called NexGuard, and try and get that so it's in focus for you. There you are. It's a waterproof bacterial spray, so I'm going to put that on after Mystery's had his shot. And I'm hoping that with the increased treatments and everything, you know, I'm going to get him to come back around. I'm very disappointed in what I've done, and you know, not at all happy with the state that he's in. But I'm going to continue to work and try and get him recovered, I should say. So another shot going in now. And I have also slightly updated the dosage that Mystery was receiving. So as I said, I'm not willing to give up. I know it's not looking good. I do feel really, really bad about that. That's certainly my arrogance, my negligence that's caused this to expand the way it has. So as I said, the polysporin is going to go on now, followed by this new treatment. And I will get him back into the quarantine tank as quickly as possible. I'm also going to be upgrading the filtration on that tank, because I think the filter that's on there, although it's working, it's certainly not doing the job that it should be doing as far as the water quality, at least in my opinion. So I am going to continue to try to get a recovery for him. I know it's going to be very difficult. It's going to take a lot of time, a lot of patience, and I definitely have to spend a lot more time looking after him, trying to get things made right. So I'm not willing to give up yet. He's still very feisty when you catch him. He's still eating very well. So there is still some hope that he will recover. I said it's definitely a mess, as you can see. But I'm going to, so I'm going to continue. Definitely not very happy. So I'm going to give him the spray on top of there and now, and see over the next few days if we can get any improvement going on this. Put the spray on here and now. It is supposed to be a waterproof spray, so I'm hoping that that will make a difference and keep that polysporin on there for a longer period of time. I guess only time is going to tell whether it's going to work or not. So I will get him moved back into the quarantine tank, get him in the water, and I will bring another update likely for tomorrow. And this is injection number 3 for Mystery. I'm going to do that now, and then I will do the treatment on the ulcers with the polysporin and the new spray. So I'm going to go ahead and give him the injection now. The injection is done. Just with a cotton pad here, it's going to dry off the ulcerated area. He is definitely in a mess as far as the ulcer is concerned. I will be installing a new filter on the quarantine tank on Monday. Unfortunately, I am out for the next couple of days all day long and just don't have the time to get everything set up the way I want it. But I will provide a video on the filter, just explain what it is. It's one from Owasi, so I know it's going to be good quality. Now a bit of polysporin on the tail area, and then I will spray it with the material that I showed you previously to help protect it, waterproof it. I'm going back into the quarantine tank, and the temperature in there is about 22 degrees Celsius right now. Still using the Melafix in the tank, and the salt level is about a 0.6. I'm gradually going to let that salt level come down a little bit. I don't want it to be in there for too long at that level. I know that's certainly not ideal to keep them in that level for a long period of time. So the polysporin is now on. I'm going to use the Next Care spray on here to try and seal this up. And I'm hoping that this will do a better job sealing than the new skin did. So that is on there now. I'm just going to let it dry for a few moments. And I'm going to move Mystery back into his tank. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to end this section of the video there. Because again, I'm doing this by myself. I don't have anybody to move the camera, and I can't kind of move the camera, move Mystery and everything all at the same time. So I will end it there for now. I'll provide another update on the process tomorrow. Back soon. It is November 26th. This is the 4th shot for Mystery, and I'm going to do another treatment with the polysporin and the spray to seal it off afterwards. One thing I am going to do on this one though is there's a couple little pieces of bone from the anal fin sticking out here, so I'm going to trim those off first. I don't want them to cause any more irritation or anything for Mystery. Okay, so those are gone now. I'm just going to dry the area around the tail. Too, but I'm going to leave that for now. Get this area dried. We'll give Mystery another injection. I'm going to do the injection now, and then I will do the treatment, the polysporin, etc. on the open ulcer here. And like I said, I'm hoping that all of this is going to benefit him in the long run. I know it's taking time. It's not kind of doing what I was hoping it would do as far as the treatment is concerned. But again, like I said, I'm going to continue to work with it. Doing the treatments on him, I should say, and we'll see how things go. As I said, am I doing the right thing? Hopefully I am. I really don't want to give up on him. I know he's not a spectacular fish by any means, and he's gone through a lot. Is he going to survive all this? I wish I could say yes. I really don't know at this point. I'm really hopeful that I can reverse the damage that has been done through the ulcer. And as I said, I am taking responsibility for some of the problems here, because I did let him just kind of go without treatments for a while in the tank, and I should not have done that. So with that said, the polysporin is on now. I have the spray that I'm going to put on to seal things up. At least that's the plan here anyway. And then he will go back into his quarantine tank. Okay, so the sealant is back on. And I'm just going to leave him here for a moment, just get my hands dampened, and I will get him back into the tank. You can see maybe a little bit on the paper towel here, there is a little bit of blood where I trimmed the tail, or the little bones by the anal fin there, and there's a little bit here by the other ulcer. So with that said, I want to get him back in the tank as quickly as possible, so I'm going to do that now. I'm not quite sure what is coming next, so I will provide another update in the next day or two. It is the evening of November 27th, and this is going to be the 5th and final injection for this round of injections for Mystery. The ulcer is definitely not in good shape, and so I'm going to do another treatment with polysporin and the spray on there. Tomorrow I will be trying something different. So I'm going to give him a shot now with the antibacterial, or with sort of the antibacterial with the neutral stuff here. See if I can get this in. Oh, the injection is in. I'm just now going to dry off the ulcer. Put the cream on. Let's do the spray and then get him back in the tank as quickly as possible. As I said, it's not looking good. Definitely not, but I really don't want to give up just yet. I do have a new filter that I will be installing hopefully tomorrow, and I will bring you an update on that one as well as soon as I have it ready to go. In the meantime, as I said, I'm going to do the polysporin now, followed by the spray. Get this on him now. The little guy here is definitely suffering with this. I am very upset with myself that I'm not able to get anything moving along more quickly here for him. But, I'm not ready to give up on the poor guy yet. That time may come depending on how he recovers. I think with the new filter, that will definitely make a difference to the water clarity and water quality in the quarantine tank. So the polysporin is on. I'm now going to do the spray covering on there. And according to the bottle, this is a non-stinging formula. So hopefully this is not causing him any additional discomfort. So with that said, I know he's not happy here. I'm going to get him moved back into the tank as quickly as possible. And I will be bringing some more updates, but I'm not going to video all of the treatments that I'm doing with him. I will do a few of them, but I say I'm going to get him into the tank now. You can see he's not happy. And with that said, I'm going to end things here at the moment, and I will be back with an update on the filter very, very shortly. I mentioned earlier in the video that I was looking to get a new filter to put on the quarantine tank, and this is the one that I have selected. It's made by Awasi, as you can see on the front of the box. The BioSmart 5000 flow-through filter. And what that will do for me is give me additional filtration on the quarantine tank, and the filter, once the quarantine tank is no longer in use, I'll be able to use as a supplemental filter should I decide to do so on my indoor koi pond. I did look at some pressure filters, even some by Awasi, but wasn't happy with the volume of water they were capable of handling when the time came to use it potentially, as I said, on the indoor pond. This particular filter, according to the manufacturer and to what I've read, is easy to clean. I will certainly have to try and figure that out as time gets going, and does have the capacity to work in a much larger volume. Now the quarantine tank that Mystery is in right now is approximately 160 gallons. This filter can handle up to 1,250 gallons with koi in the pond. And I'm just going to spin the box around now so you can see that description on the back of the box. They kind of explain that in full rate, so bear with me for a moment while I turn the box here. Now let me just move it forward a little bit so you can see the chart. There we go. So that's kind of explaining some of the measurements, etc., of the filter itself. And what I'm going to do is just going to zoom in on the chart, and hopefully this will be clear enough you'll be able to see it. But as I say, it does accommodate up to a 1,250 gallon pond with koi in it. At least that's kind of what they're saying. Now, I wouldn't certainly use this as a standalone filter, but it should work, they say, very well. It'll be super oversized for the quarantine tank, but I say as a supplemental one, should I choose to do that for the indoor pond, having that extra volume will be wonderful. The pond down there is approximately, when I say down there in my basement, it's approximately 2,000 gallons. So this is a little bit undersized for that, but it is definitely, as a supplemental filter, more than adequate to add to the filter that I currently have running on the pond now. So what I'm going to do is I will get the filter out of the box. I'll show you the various components of it, and then I'm hoping to get it installed today and get the water improving for Mystery, and there will be some updates on him as we go through the video, of course. So with that said, I'm going to just put the camera down and get to work on getting that filter in place and up and running, and hopefully watch the water quality improve. The pump I'm going to be putting on here initially is a 600 gallon an hour pump. Again, undersized for what the filter normally calls for, but I don't want to overdo things for Mystery, because again, it is a relatively small volume of water that he is in. So I will show you everything as I get them up and running, and we'll be back with some additional information throughout the video. This is the interior of the filter, and you can see here's the temperature probe that I was mentioning. It is quite long, so it reaches pretty much to the bottom of the filter itself. This fitting here, so you can actually attach, if you wish, a garden hose connection to it to introduce fresh water into the filter if you're doing it for like a top-up or when you're cleaning, something like that. And this is the gauge I spoke of a moment ago that will rise when the filter gets to that point where it needs cleaning. And as I said, I am in a strong disapproval of those kind of things. You shouldn't rely on something like that to tell you when a filter is dirty. You should be doing regular cleanings, and you should know when it needs to be taken care of. The handles that you see here, you will see in a moment, they are actually used to clean the sponges that are in the filter itself. And this valve here is for the drain valve. So I'm just going to pop the clip on this side, one on that side, and then lift this out. So bear with me for a moment here. Okay, so inside the filter, and again, I do apologize if the light is not the best. This is the waste valve. So when you clean the filters, the sponges I will show you momentarily, the waste accumulates in the bottom. You open this up, allowing the waste to come out the back of the unit itself. And that is the rear of the unit. That's the cap that goes on the waste. These holes here, the one on this side and the one on this side, are where the inlet goes. And you can actually pick up an Awasi Bitron UV unit, which will fit perfectly in there should you choose to do so. Now the sponges, as I mentioned, these are the sponges which provide the filtration. So you have two coarse sponges, a finer sponge, and then a very fine sponge. And the way the water comes in, it comes down through the bottom, fills up through all these various sponges, and when you pull the handles on the top I mentioned, it moves this section here up and down to compress the sponge and knock off the bulk of the dirt. Now they will need periodic cleaning manually, I'm sure, so that's something that I will put into my regime when the time comes. And again, it's just a matter of pulling up these sponges, or the handles, to clean the sponges. I'm not going to do that right now with the sponges being brand new and they're not moist. I don't want to damage anything. And the water itself, it will come in from these holes here, circulate up through the sponges. This is the line, or the outlet, and you can see there is a baffle there. So the water will come up to almost the complete height of the filter to what will be the top of the sponge tray before overflowing back into the pond. So I think it's going to be a good filter. It's going to work well, I think, in my application. Being used primarily, as I said, for the quarantine tank right now, and then eventually for a supplemental filter on the main indoor pond. And once the tray is back in place, it's again simply a matter of the clamps here going on, locking that in place, and everything is good to go. So what I'm going to do is, like I said, I'm going to try and get this up and running later today if I can. That's sort of my goal. I'm not sure if I'm going to need any additional fittings. I have seen a few reviews of these filters where they said this particular fitting, the outlet or the return to the pond, and the drain one at the back are a bit of an odd size because they're European measurements. This filter is made in Germany, so the measurements on there are in millimeters generally. That will work for the measurements that you use over in the UK and in other European countries, but do not work as well here in Canada. Our measurements are slightly different. So here in Canada and the US, it might take a little bit of finagling to get the proper pipework and everything on there. Now, fortunately, I do have a very good collection of the flexible or the rubber boots that I can put on the filter here. I always have extras on hand for use on the filters outside, so I don't think that's going to be an issue. What I am going to be doing is the fittings that are there, you can put the water coming in one side and cap off the other, or if you put the UV unit on there, you would use both. What I'm going to be doing for now, at least, is just having the water coming in one side, and I will cap off the other one here to prevent any overflows. I do have a 25 watt UV that I may connect to this. It's not the Iwasi Bitron brand. It's from a company called Laguna. It's an older unit I've had for quite a while, so I may end up hooking that up to the pump as well to get the water flowing through here, and just to help with a bit of sterilization for the quarantine tank. So fingers crossed that this is going to work well. I will certainly bring an update to you once I know what is going on. And as I said, at this point, I'm not sure how all this is going to function. I have, fairly strong hopes for it. I know the Iwasi brand is a very good brand, and I think this should work very well for what I'm hoping to do. So with that said, I'm going to end the video segment here now, and I'm going to start getting the various components that I need together to get this installed. And once I have it up and running, I will show you what I have done. So another segment for the video will follow shortly. Just a brief update on how I'm making out with the fittings that are going onto the filter so I can get it up and running on the quarantine tank. I have, as you can see here, this is a 2-inch pipe that is going to be used as the water return or the outlet from the filter into the quarantine tank. It is a push fit into the filter itself, so I can take it out if I need to. I don't think it's going to drip. It is quite substantial in there. However, that part is going to be sitting directly over the tank, so if there is a little drip, it's not going to make a difference. And on the rear of the filter, you can see here what I have done. This will be the inlet from the pump. This one is one that's a solid end on it, so if you're not using the UV clarifier I mentioned earlier in the video, that stays capped. If you're using that, then these would be fitting, or this can also be cut off if you put a second feed into it. I've also put a ball valve on here that will work for the drain. Now there is a fitting inside here that goes up and down, or a valve I should say, that is part of the filter itself. You open it when you're going to eliminate the waste out of it. I'm never 100% comfortable with something like that, especially being indoors, so I wanted to put the ball valve on just as a safety measure. And what will be happening there is this hose will be going on to the fitting here, and of course using a Jubilee clip or a hose clamp on there. That will work to drain this into my indoor sump barrel for when I'm cleaning the filter. And then the pump itself will be put into the quarantine tank. Now it's not a terribly large pump, as you can see. I'll just put it here beside the filter. So that's the pump there. It's a 600 gallon an hour Laguna pump. Again, it's actually below capacity what the WASI recommends for this filter, but because this is going in that quarantine tank, that pump is going to be used. I'm not putting excessive amounts of water through it to get mystery too messed up. If I do opt to use the filter on the indoor pond as a supplemental filter, I will connect a larger pump to it because I have the pump and the fittings for that as well. So I'm going to leave it there for the moment, and I will be getting this up and running very shortly, and then I will show you once it's hooked up and how it's going. Alright, I am down in my basement, or my fish room as I call it. The new filter is in place, and I'll give you a bit better look in a moment, and I do apologize, the lighting is not the best in behind the filter here. This is the inlet from the pump, and I will show you that in a moment. The ball valve I had mentioned in the early part of the video is right here. It's connected to a long hose, which will be going over to my sump, which is on the far side. I will show you that as well in just a moment. This is the end that was solid, because I'm only using the one inlet for the pump into the filter. And things are in place here inside the filter itself. Now, it's my understanding that as the water fills up and goes through the filters, it will somehow come up through here into this area, and then it overflows here into the outlet. What I'm hoping is, if that's indeed the case, is I'm going to put some bags of biomedia in here along with some of the Pure Pond that is from Evolution Aqua. I'll get that in there, and I'm just going to come around to the front of the filter now. And so there's the front of the filter. This is the outlet from the filter, or the return to the pond, with an elbow on it there. I took the cage off the pump just to give Mystery a bit more space. So this is a pump itself, again not a very large one. It will be going obviously down into the pond here, and then that will allow the water to get pumped from this end in through the filter, and hopefully make a big difference in here. I'm going to do a big water change on Mystery's tank a little bit later on as well. So on that note, I'm going to leave it going. I will let you know in another video, whether it's turned things around or not as far as the filtration for him, and bring you an update on how everything is going in that regard. So if you like the video, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. Feel free to leave a comment, good, bad, or indifferent, it doesn't matter. Your support, as always, is very, very much appreciated. Thank you all for watching, and stay safe and happy ponding. Just wanted to add a quick update at the end of the video here. The filter is running, as you can see. Water is a pretty decent flow. Again, it's a 600 gallon an hour pump, so it is not huge by any means, but should get a nice flow going in there to give Mystery a bit of exercise and keep the water going to hopefully clarify considerably. And again, I do apologize for the lighting. Just getting up to the top of the filter here. Not sure if you can see that or not. The water is definitely coming up from around where the sponges are, but it is, maybe a quarter of an inch deep. It would probably be more if it was a stronger pump, but putting any biomedia in there is going to be, pretty much a lost cause to try and get anything in there. So what I am going to do, because I do want some bio in there, at least until the filters get functioning, or the sponges get functioning the way they're supposed to. So I have this mesh bag here. I'm going to put some Pure Pond in there, and I will attach it to the filter here so that the water will pass over the media and then get the water flowing through the biomedia through the Pure Pond to get the bacteria going in the filter. If I don't put it there, because I don't want it to kind of interfere with his swimming, I might just attach it to this fitting over here. That way it'll kind of stay against the side of the pond, give him more movement of water around there and let the bio or the bacteria start to take effect in the filter. So all in all, seems to be doing well. The push fitting I put in there is holding. This is a little bit of cement you can see there on the fitting itself, just to glue the elbow in. The actual fitting that goes into the filter, as I mentioned previously, has not been glued. So I can take that out or adjust it anytime I want to. So on that note, I will definitely end things there. Again, thank you for watching. I will be bringing more updates to let you know whether it's clarifying the water, how everything is doing, and of course on the condition mystery. Thank you all again for watching. Take care.